I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and this cute cat is the new pattern in the Funny Faces Quilt Block of the Month Club. So when I say new, it is June 1st, 2023, and this is the pattern that is exclusive to the club all month long. So if you're already in the club, you should have already received an email with a link to download the pattern. If you're not in the club yet, you join anytime in June 2023, this is the pattern that you're going to get instant access to. Here's how to make him. Okay, let's make this cat. So this is the version of this is the video showing you how to put it together if you have a Lightbox. So let me first just talk you through the Lightbox setup. So I've got a layer of 3 things. I've got my Lightbox at the bottom. I've got the light turned up as bright as it will go, I think. I've got the placement guide, and then I've got a clear silicone mat over the whole thing. So I'm going to build this on the silicone mat, iron it on the silicone mat, and then peel it off. So I am not using all of the pieces for this one. For this version of the block, I decided instead of appliquing on all of the stripes, I would use a striped fabric. So that's what you're going to see me doing here. So we're not going to be using all of the pieces, but if you're using all of the pieces, when you do the Lightbox, you lay them down in the number. So the numbers tell you what piece is what, but they also tell you in what order to lay the pieces down. So we are going to lay these down, starting with piece number 1. You just put that right on the body, get it lined up with that placement guide underneath. All right, so next up is going to be piece number 5, since I am skipping some of the stripes on his body. Piece number 5 is his nice pale belly. So this is a kind of a silly version of the cat that I'm doing in bright fantasy colors. So number 6 is the outer ear on one side. This is for a quilt that I'm making that uses all fabrics from my gemstones collection. So each block uses complementary colors. So the animal, the face, is one color from that collection. In this case, it is emerald, and this print is called Pump Up the Volume. Now, 8 and 9 are the inner ears, and if you have trouble seeing the numbers through here, if you just make contact, the numbers will show through much more clearly. So you might just need to push that down. The fabric tends to bow up a little bit. So piece number 8 is the inner ear. So these fabrics are both from the Emerald collection. This one is called Marbles. And then the background block will be from the Tourmaline collection, for the Tourmaline solid background block. And those are the 2 complements. Tourmaline is kind of a reddish-orange color. Tourmalines can be a lot of different colors, but in my collection, it's the reddish-orange shade. All right, next up is going to be piece number 10, which is the face. Oh, before I do that, this is important. Before I peel the backing off, I need to transfer all of these lines from the paper side of my pattern to the other side, to the fabric side. And I'm going to probably end up pushing some of these out of the way. So we've got an eye here. And I'm not going to do the eyelashes on this version. I did the eyelashes on a different version that I'll show you at the end. So I don't need to transfer the nose, but I do need to get these whisker lines in because these are all not placement guide lines. These are stitching lines. So I will need to be able to see them when I do not have the Lightbox. So I'm just using the Lightbox to let the light shine through so I can really see these lines. And I'm just transferring them with a nothing fancy fine tip Sharpie. This is a permanent pen, but that's okay because I'm going to stitch over all of these lines with black thread, so you're never going to see that. So before I put that down, let me fix all of these where I shifted them out of place. Shift the ear back. All right, now I can peel the backing off and lay that face down. So this is another fabric from the same emerald collection. One of the things I love about using my own fabrics is I know that all of the fabrics in one collection, in this case all of the emerald, all use the same hue, different shades, different dark and brightness, different tints and shades of that same hue, but because they're all based on the same hue, they're all going to go together really well. And then the nose, you just want to make sure that you line up the point of the nose exactly on that line, and that's going to make it look perfect. And now we are going to skip all the stripes on the tail, so we've just got one more piece, and that is the tail piece, which really doesn't need to go on the Lightbox because there's nothing to fuse it to. I'm just going to put it here so that you guys can see it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to lift the silicone mat off very carefully, take this over to my ironing board, and I'm going to fuse these pieces in place right on the silicone mat. I'm going to let them cool, and then I'm going to peel them off and place them on my tourmaline background block. I'll do all the outline stitching, and then I'll bring it back here and show you that finished block, and also show you a version that has all of the stripes appliqued on instead of using a striped fabric, and a version that has the eyelashes, and also a version that does not have the contrasting ears. So there's a lot of options with this pattern, things that you can use or leave off, and I wanted to show you as many possible variations on that as I could. So that's what I'll show you next. All right, here is the finished block, one of the finished blocks. I made 3 different samples that I'm going to show you. This one uses everything in the pattern. It includes the appliqued stripes, it includes the belly patch, it includes the inner ear contrast, and it includes the eyelashes. But you don't have to use all of those pieces. So I just wanted to show you a couple of other options that I made. So this version, I used striped fabric instead of appliquing the stripes on. So it has the inner ears and it has the contrasting tummy. It does not have the eyelashes and it doesn't have any of those stripes. It just uses that striped fabric instead. And I have one more version to show. I decided I wanted to make a Halloween version with a black cat on it. So this one does not include the contrasting inner ears. I did decide to include a contrasting belly just because I felt like with an all black cat, having a variety of textures was going to be a nice thing to have. But if you did not want to include the belly, I just want to show you that you can cut, this is the piece for the shoulders, and if you decided you did not want to include a contrasting belly patch, you could just cut this across the bottom instead of cutting up in that curve. When I laid out the pattern pieces, there are no pattern pieces tucked up into that belly to save space so that you can cut this piece either way. One other option that I don't show here, obviously you could leave the tail off, but you can also leave the body off. So I did all 3 of these versions what I call snapshot style, which is where there's a body, you just don't see all of it. But you can also do them emoji style by leaving off the tail and leaving off the body and just floating the head in the middle of the block. So that is another option for the pattern. So there it is, the June 2023 pattern in the Funny Faces Quilt Block of the Month Club. I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World. I'll see you next month.